Hello, you guys. Welcome to another episode of the Big Money Stylist Podcast. I'm in the same outfit as last week. Just kidding. I'm shooting multiple podcasts in one day.
Okay, it's
I
cute.
know. It's fine. It's a cute. I'm just
shirt.
happy I have makeup on. Usually when I do these podcasts, I'm a little homeless looking.
Yeah.
But I don't care.
Haven't washed
I feel
your
like
hair.
podcasts, they should be a little bit more like real and like raw. So I'm like,
Yeah.
it's fine. But I have Nina here today. She's one of my licensed artists. I feel like I've known you for a while because I still remember the first time I did your hair.
Yeah.
And okay, so first tell us your Instagram handle.
It's Bay Area Hair. I am in Northern California, just north of San Francisco, about 20 minutes.
Okay.
Yep.
And have you been there since I've known you?
Yeah.
Okay, because I'm pretty sure your Instagram handle's been the same.
Yes.
Because I'm like, where's the Bay Area? And I'm like, oh, hello.
Oh, I get a lot of DMs like, where are you?
Yeah.
I'm like, the Bay Area.
I think I assumed that, but I'm not originally like from California, so I was like, which Bay?
Yeah.
Which Bay
yeah.
are you
So
from?
I'm just North Bay.
Okay, and have you been at the same? You're a salon owner. Have you had the same salon since I've known you?
Yeah, so I opened in November of 2008,
Oh, okay.
and I've been a salon owner since. I've moved locations, but I've been since NBR. I've been in this location.
And when did you? Because did you come have me do your hair before you joined the education?
Yeah,
I was like, were you kind of just? You were like, is this the real deal?
funny story. I was actually hiding in my walk-in closet when my husband was asleep because he gets up early.
Okay.
And I was like digging around online, and I found Garrett, and then
Okay.
I found you.
Oh, that's
and I'm
funny.
like, oh, his wife does hair. Oh, she's so cute.
Oh, that's funny.
And then I like stumbled into the NBR education, and
Okay.
you guys had just closed your year's education.
Oh, okay. So
And
there wasn't anything available.
No, and
Oh,
I was
okay.
like super like bummed.
Mm.
So I just like obsessively started digging into your content, and then I'm like, God, I gotta wait for like next year. And so I just was
That's
like,
right. I didn't have my online course then or anything.
you didn't have any of
Yeah.
that. And so I'm like, okay, well, if I'm going to see what this is about, I might
Just
as well
go
go
down.
to the top and see
Mm.
what I'm getting myself into and what I'm going to offer.
Yeah.
And until I can get in, I'm just going to have the creator do my hair so I know
Yeah.
what the standard is,
Mhm.
because I'm a all or nothing. I'm a,
Be honest. Was your experience good?
yeah.
'Cause I was like,
Okay, well, honest, it was good, but you had a shadowing program.
Oh.
And I actually was one of those artists that always did my own hair. I had
Mhm.
naturally curly hair. I had a
Mhm.
lot of hair before kids.
Mm.
So I didn't lose hair till after my children. And this
Okay.
was right after my daughter was born.
Okay.
So this was my first, like, I'm going to a
To get paid to
salon
have your hair
to pay
done.
to have
Yeah.
my hair done. And you weren't with me very much.
Mm.
There was your shadow girl.
Okay.
And there was, I think you had 2 assistants.
Okay.
So I was a little like, wait, but
Wait,
I want Danielle.
Where are you going?
I thought, and I had never really been in a salon
Mm.
experience, so I didn't know what to expect.
Right.
But I just told you, I'm like, I just want bomb hair. Like,
Yeah.
do whatever. That's what I said, and you gave me bomb hair.
Oh, I just remember like I loved your hair so much, and I remember the sun was going down. And I was like, we're fucking getting photos.
Oh,
I
yeah.
made you like go outside on PCH. I was like, you look great.
yeah, we took amazing
We
photos, and
did.
we were like dancing around trying to catch the light, and we
Yes.
had
Just enough light.
time.
Yeah, that was funny.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad you had bomb hair, and we've got to connect since then. Sorry, it wasn't such a connecting moment. I'm like, how was it?
No, it was
Some
great, though.
days, though, we're at the salon, though. Like, there's some days where it's like super kind of chill, and they're like you can like really connect with clients. And then there's some days where I like look at this. Like now, it's not so chaotic anymore. But there were some days I'd like look at my schedule at the salon, and I'd like be like, I hope I make it through the day.
How am I gonna do that? Yeah, it doesn't always look right.
It doesn't, yeah, but I made it through, and here we are. So, okay, so how many people work in your salon right now?
So I have 4 stylists.
Okay.
2 of them are assistants and 2 are actual stylists.
Okay.
And then I have a back of the house girl. So she helps me on emailing and
Okay.
all the
You said
stuff that
back of the
I'm
house,
not good at.
house girl. I was like she does back house
Yeah.
door calls? What?
No, she helps me with just like making my emails
Okay.
look pretty and social media content.
Oh,
And
okay.
she kind of keeps me on
Does
track.
she do hair?
She did do hair, but she's a theater girl. And so
Oh, okay.
she travels all over, and she's actually moving with her husband. So she's just working with me, and we do virtual, and we just keep
And I know recently, like, 'cause we've been talking about this, you don't have a desire to expand your team anymore, correct?
No.
Like you're feeling like, where are you at there?
Where am I at? Okay, so I'm just feeling called to do more than hair. And I've been doing hair for 21 years, very active, like 5 days a week, 10-hour days. Up until I started doing NBR, I didn't take any break with either kid, like 3 weeks with each kid.
Wow.
And I had C-section, so it's kind of a crazy.
Well, yeah, it's painful.
Yeah, driving. I shouldn't have been driving.
wow.
But so I definitely have the reps, but I feel like I want to do so much more with my knowledge.
I feel like it's like you've conquered hair.
Yeah,
You know
and
what I
I feel
mean?
really good. It doesn't make me sweat anymore. And I kind of tell my girls that, like, nothing scares me. Like, someone could come in with like the worst
Yeah.
of the worst.
And you're like, I got
I'm
this.
like,
You're not sweaty anymore. It doesn't make you sweaty anymore.
No,
Yeah.
and even NBR, like, I feel really good about it. But I miss educating and I miss connecting with women and empowering women. And, you know, I was talking a little bit about my story earlier when we were in our class, but I just feel like women need to hype each other up and we need support and we need to be able to have the permission and the space to shine.
Right.
And so often we're not allowed that. And even the people closest to us tend to be the ones to dull us. And, and almost they don't like it. So I'm really looking at how can I
have more
influence
impact
and impact people.
I've loved seeing this. Finally, you accept this, honestly, because I'm very similar to you in the same sense where I was like, what used to scare me in hair, I'm like, I can sell anybody, I can upsell anybody on anything, I can build my book of business in 3 months, I can do any color, I feel confident, you know what I mean? Like, I got to this place where it was like, I mean, I'm not saying I'm like the best colors ever, but I got to this point where you're like, I've conquered this at some level, right? Yeah. And so it's like, well, what else am I called to do? And I genuinely believe that everybody at some level is called to teach and serve. And so it's not even that hair's not fun. It's not even that you're burnt out anymore, right? Like
not at all.
You've even like scaled it back to where you're working like a healthy amount of hours.
Yep.
And so it's like for you to grow to the next level, and I've seen how good you are at genuinely caring for people. And like Garrett said today, that's such a rare gift to see in people. In fact, Garrett has that, it's a blessing and a curse, but Garrett has that same thing where I'm like, babe, you need to take care of you. Like, you need to take care of you. Like, you can't let yourself or your family suffer. So it's definitely a gift, and not very many, you should go into coaching because it's very rare, you know? So tell me, what are you going to do?
It's such a loaded question. I've loved this new team that I have built, and I just really want to focus on them and giving more of my knowledge to them, but really also expanding to other women who maybe need permission and maybe they're scared to make moves because they're afraid of what other people think or how they're going to be perceived, because that is part of my story. You know, growing up, there was a lot of judgment. I'm supposed to do this. I'm not supposed to do that. I should behave like this.
Right.
And I should do that. And it almost put a cap on what I was capable of.
Right.
And I don't know if it's turning 40 or whatever it is. Like, you just start to like care less.
Yeah,
and you're
zero
like,
fucks given.
You have 0 fucks left to give, and you're like, I'm sorry at this point. Like, I've done it, caring about everybody else for the last 40 years. What's it going to look like in the next 40 years if I don't?
Right, exactly. And it's like this. You feel kind of this calling, and it's what's going to happen is your circle is going to shrink. Yeah, it's going to shrink down painfully.
It already has.
Yeah,
even just in my transition every step of the way with NBR, getting into counsel. You know, I have people who are like, what are you doing? Why are you there all the time? I'm missing something. And, you know, it makes people uncomfortable when you expand.
Yeah, yeah. But it doesn't matter, because what happens is people get uncomfortable for a bit, and then they keep following and they keep watching, and all of a sudden they become fans again. Like, you're like, we don't have to be friends, but there's this respect that happens. Like, in the immersion of change, it's uncomfortable for them because it's assuming that something's wrong with them. And so they get uncomfortable thinking you're saying that they're broken, but all you're saying is I want to evolve. And you don't have to come with me, but if you'd like to, like, let's do this together. If not, do your own thing. Yeah. But in my experience with life, every time it gets kind of sweaty and scary and my circle shrinks even more, I just know I'm like headed on the right path. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you're on the right track.
Yeah. So but I'm not to say that's not hard. Like I shared a little bit of my truth today. I was surprised I even got emotional about it after so many years, you know? So it's that thing where it's like, also too, it's hard when, you know, we've been behind the chair forever and it's hard to have so much certainty and confident in one area and then scary to be like, hey, I want to start a coaching business. Hey, I want to do this. Because you're literally like, who am I to think I can do this?
Yeah.
But even though you naturally, I see you help other women inside of the community and you see things, right? Mm-hmm. And so it's more of a matter of just like creating an offer, packaging it up and just going. Mm-hmm. Like you can't expect to be good at something when you don't have the reps at doing it. But you have the natural gift and ability, so you should go. You know, and it'll take you a minute just to get like comfortable with what, not even like coaching, like with what your offer is and how you want to organize it. And then once you do, I want you to consider that the reason you are creating these teams similar to what I did in my salon is because I'm like, this is like built and running for me and I can come in and it still brings me joy, but now I can really focus my energy and my passions over here. Right. And so that's why you need to make sure your teams are stable and you have the time and space to do so. There's no reason that you can't start this.
Totally.
You know, so it's just going.
Well, and that is something, you know, we discovered today. Mm-hmm. I've always been that cheerleader, mm-hmm. like watching people. And the more I see even you do, I'm like, yes, girl, get it. Mm-hmm. Okay, what are we doing now? Like, I want to be a part of it, not just because it's helpful to me, but I'm watching you win. Right. And you evolve even from when you did my hair. Mm-hmm. So I just get such a buzz off of when women do see this new potential in themselves. And, you know, we were talking about this before, like I have friends and people close to me. They're like, well, so what do you think? Like, what do you think I should do? And my biggest issue is like, well, do you really want to know what I think? Yeah. Are you sure? Are you going to get upset? Yeah. Because I'm going to tell you, not in a nice way, but I'm going to tell you because I want you to grow. I care. Yeah. And I care so much that I'm going to tell you something that might be hard to hear because I know it will give you that pivot to win more.
I love too when we were back in class and we were like, okay, well, what type of woman would you attract? And I honestly was like thinking like, just because like, say for example, like not just because you're a successful woman doesn't mean you have it figured out, right? Totally. Like if anything, the more success I have, the more I'm like, I wish I had somebody, I need a mentor, somebody to talk me off the ledge, or I'm like, hey Nina, like this is what's going on right now. Like what do I do with this? And I almost need a cheerleader. I think I've always looked to Garrett to be my cheerleader, but it doesn't really work well with our marriage sometimes. Because sometimes he'll coach me and I'll be like, you're such a dick. Why did you say it like that? And he's like, did you just ask for my feedback? I'm like, not like that, I didn't.
Yeah, it's almost too close for comfort.
Exactly. Yeah. So I was even thinking like that would be a really good angle for you to go after like successful women who they need that. They need somebody to be like, hey, like I'm struggling here. Like, and you're like, okay, do you really want to know? And then you can guide them and lead them. And that is so powerful for like somebody like me to make more clear decisions in my business, because maybe I'm not seeing something in the weeds, if that makes sense.
Yeah, yeah. And I mean, I have this happen in my chair all the time, and that is kind of why this has felt so organic, because women sit in my chair and they'll often like, well, I want to show you this dress I was going to buy. What do you think? And I'm like, okay, I'll give you my opinion. It has nothing to do with your hair, but no, that isn't very flattering because of this X, or the sleeves or whatever. And they're like, oh yeah, good call. And they'll come in, and I had another client, this was a funny story. She wore eyeglasses, and I finally said to her after a couple times of her coming in, I'm like, do you mind if I give you some advice about your glasses? And she was like, yeah, go ahead. Like, you cut my hair. I trust you. I said, those are the wrong shaped glasses for your face, and they actually make your eyes look smaller and they make you look older. And she was like, whoa. And I kind of explained like why. And she came back in after her eye doctor appointment with 3 options. And she sat down, and this was like in between clients. I had her try them all on, and I explained to her why one didn't work and the one that worked and why. Yeah. And she bought them, and she's like, I get comments on my glasses all the time.
That's so funny.
Everybody loves
But
these.
it's how you also framed it. You weren't like, you were very much like, this is why it's not working. This is what you should try. This is going to enhance your look. There was nothing
malicious or negative.
It was just like, hey, do you mind if I give you a suggestion?
Yeah.
But you also have done that too. Like we were talking about Britta, and she was more on like a I don't know exactly what her problem was, but like she came to you, posted something in the group, and you personally reached out to her. You didn't have to do that.
Yeah.
And she was very moved and very touched, and she was like, thank you. So I think beyond just picking out eyeglasses, you can see things in people that they might need help with. And you're like, hey, can I give you some feedback? And again, that's like seeing those things is like, it's how Garrett processes people. I'll be like, how did you do that? He's like, I ask a series of questions. I see the window, and then I'm like, yeah. And I'm like, wow, I want to, like, I've had to learn how to do that over the years, but certain people can do it naturally. I always say, like, I'm more of a teacher. I love like educating and teaching and talking about the process of why this bead works and this hair color and that kind of thing. Yeah. But training is like what he does, and it's what you could also offer too, and it's what you're already doing with your current clients. Yeah. So. But I love it. So I am expecting 2024 something. I want to see something that you're putting out there, that you're just testing the waters, even if it's like, in my experience, like you just have a couple one-on-one clients. Like start with where you're at. I think there's always an important factor of having a big vision of where you want to go, but understanding that you're not there and you have to start with where you're at. And then with consistency, all of a sudden you pick up momentum, and then you go from like, you know, I started with my shadowing program, then it went to group classes, then it went to like a mastermind, then it went to a huge academy, right? But I didn't develop this overnight. It was a decade of hustling and staying consistent. So understanding that, like I said, we've mastered the art of hair. And if there's something that you truly feel called to do, I want to see you put something out there in next I was going to say at least by next year. I know the holidays for hairstylists is a bit nutty, but...
I mean, I love that we're talking about this on here, because I am a put your money where your mouth is kind of person.
Once you say it.
Yeah. And so I will.
Okay. I love it.
Yeah. I'm not scared. I just, I'm ready, and it was really evident today. And yeah, I'm like, girl, I got you. Like, I'm not going to let you wear silly glasses and look dumb. I would never do that. Yeah. So it's the same thing with anything else. So,
yes. I love it. So I'm excited. And I feel like almost a sense of, not relief in you, but a clarity in your eyes. You know what I mean? Like almost like, okay, I got this. I can do this. And it's making that declaration where it's kind of been on the back of your mind, and now you're like, yeah, I'm going.
Yeah, I'm not hiding.
So I'm excited for you. Well, you guys, stay tuned to Nina's new Instagram page coming up soon, Coach with Nina. I'm just kidding. I don't know what it's going to be called. You're going to think of something way more cute and creative than that. Yeah. But thank you so much for being on the show today. I love getting to know people more. I love hearing my students' stories, especially because I feel like I've known you for a while, and I've really gotten to know you more through counsel, and I've loved the bonding that everybody has had in this specific group. It's really how my education started. It started with having, I always say we're not culty, but like we are bonded. We are
tribal.
We're tribal. We're connected.
Same.
You say same, but that's why we have the reputation that we do of doing the things that we do and having great success and movement and what am I trying to say? I'm just trying. We have a lot of growth happening with all of our individual students. So thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of the Big Money Stylist podcast. Follow Nina. She's going to be coaching you next month if you're interested in that. And if you're interested in any education, go to nbr.education. It is primarily teaching natural beauty row hair extensions, but we do offer a program called DKW Styling Academy that touches base on business, marketing, and sales, and of course, natural beauty rows for the artists behind the chair. So if you love this podcast, if you found some value in it, share it with your friends. We do it every Tuesday and release a new episode. All right, thanks for being on the show.
Thanks for having me.
All right, bye guys.